Second opinions. Are they a help or are they a risk? Hi, I'm Courtney Jones with Senior and Living Today. If you are new here, welcome. And if you are returning, welcome back. Today we are discussing whether you should get a second opinion. And if you do, when? When do you make that decision? What makes you decide that a second opinion might be helpful? So, have you ever received a diagnosis that made you a little uncomfortable, or you didn't trust it 100% for whatever reason, either your past history or your family history or your relationship with your provider? What was it that made you just feel a little like, I just don't know? So I'm going to tell you a little story that happened to me. I got a kind of uncomfortable diagnosis, and it was the first time I had used my right to get a second opinion. It was years and years ago. I was 48 or 49 years old, and I was having a lot of respiratory difficulty. I was having a lot of trouble breathing, and so bad that, I ended up in the emergency room like, I can't breathe. And if you have any kind of respiratory condition, when you can't breathe, you sort of go into that panic state because you are feeling like you're suffocating. So I went to the emergency room and I was given a nebulizer treatment to give me some relief on my breathing. And they sent me for x-rays, and, they say, follow up with your doctor. And my doctor gave me an inhaler. Now, I had never had breathing issues before. I had never needed an inhaler. It was new to me, but of course I took this because that feeling of suffocation was frightening, to say the least. So I was given this inhaler, and I was ending up using this inhaler originally like once a month. It wasn't all the time, but I carried it with me, and I was using this rescue inhaler like once a month. Well, my symptoms became worse. And whether that was because at the time I was living in the Great Northwest, where, we have Mount St. Helens who occasionally spew some ash, or we had the forest fires, and there would be smoke pushed down into the city where I lived, I was finding myself needing the rescue inhaler daily. And we all know there's side effects to using an inhaler. And with the inhaler, you have to make sure you brush your teeth right away afterwards because it can be damaging to your teeth. And it is a chemical that it's another substance that you're putting in your body. So there's drawbacks and risk with all of that. But you want to breathe, so you're taking the inhaler. But I was using the inhaler and becoming short of breath. Soon it became daily. And I thought, how is it that I haven't had any allergies, and at almost 50 allergies or asthma? I guess you would not call asthma an allergy, but it would just appear. I'm used to children having asthma. So I was really stumped by that. So I talked to a coworker about it, and my coworker said, have you thought about getting a second opinion? And I had not. I wasn't comfortable with the diagnosis, but I hadn't really thought about getting a second opinion. And she said, I have a naturopath that I go to that I respect. Maybe you should give him a call and see if he comes to the same conclusion why you're having so much trouble breathing all of a sudden. So I set an appointment and went in to see him because I knew that my oxygen levels were low. I knew that the symptoms were getting worse. The urgency was getting worse, and it had me freaked out. So I went in and saw the naturopath, and he ran a series of tests. And when I asked what those were, he was like, well, you're diagnosed with asthma, but I want to make sure there's nothing else going on, that there's nothing else in the environment that you are allergic to, just like people who have, hay fever or, some other something that they are reacting to that's in their day-to-day environment. So he did the testing and said, come back in a week. So he did the testing. I didn't have any reaction to the testing, and I came back in a week. And so when I came back, he said, I want to take you off of, so let's see, he took me off meat. He took me off sugars of any kind. He took me off dairy. I don't think he took me off anything else. I think I was just eating fruits and vegetables for 30 days. And he said, and then in 30 days, come back and we'll discuss the next plan. He gave me a book of things to follow, and I did that for 30 days. I still had my inhaler with me and, to rescue me as needed. So at the end of the 30 days, I came back and he asked me how I was feeling, and I was feeling great. And I had only used my inhaler a couple times right after I had seen him. So the rest of the month and the 30 days, I hadn't needed the inhaler. So he said, I want to tell you your results. And your results are that you are allergic to dairy. Now, like kids, you grow up on dairy, having everything, yogurt, cheese, butter, everything. And I was no different. I grew up having a lot of dairy and thought that the only thing I had an issue with was milk. And milk did cause me extreme nausea, but I could have any other kind of dairy, which was strange. I could have cheese, I could have yogurt with no side effects. And he said, you are allergic to dairy. If you stay away from dairy, I think it's going to take care of your problem. And I want you to know that I have taken care of the dairy. I eat very little cheese. I don't eat yogurt at all. I eat things that have egg in it, but I don't eat egg. So like a diluted, like in cake mix, I can have, cake batter with egg in it, but just to sit down and eat an egg, I don't do that. And I have not needed to be rescued, not one single time since my diagnosis and my changing of the diet and eliminating the dairy. Now, I know that doesn't happen for everyone. I'm telling you my second opinion story and why, I think that it's important. A diagnosis of asthma is can be a bad thing for you, not just medically. Your insurance can go up if people think that you have asthma. Your life insurance rates can go up. That diagnosis follows you wherever you go. It's in your chart and everyone sees it, believes that what's in your chart is fact. If it says you're diabetic, everybody's going to say, as soon as they see you diabetic, let's use the diabetic protocol. People see asthma and they say there's a different protocol. So I've had to fight to get that asthma diagnosis removed so that my life insurance is more affordable and it's not listed as a pre-existing condition. I don't have asthma. I have not needed an inhaler for going on 10 years. So I am glad that I got that second opinion. Not only did it save me the diagnosis, but it saved me money. I was spending over $100 a month on an inhaler that I no longer need. Even though insurance covered it, I had my portion to pay. And why would you want to pay money out of your pocket and ingest a chemical, a drug, whatever it is, if you don't need it? That's just pointless. So the second opinion saved me. Now, granted, with the second opinion, I could have said, you know what, doc, I don't agree with you. I believe I do have asthma. I'm going to continue to eat dairy and continue to be sick. That's a choice. We all have that choice. But I listened to what he said and I looked at how I felt over the prior 30 days and I chose to go that route because it was all of a sudden. And it is surprising because I've seen it happen to other people that you can develop allergies to things you never had an issue with before. And the allergies show up in your 40s and your 50s. And you're like, what in the world is going on? Well, this is how our bodies turn on us after 50, I guess. So what can you do other than go with it? Make an educated decision and decide what it is that is going to work for you. It's always helpful if you can have a discussion with a friend. If I hadn't and let my friends know what was going on with me, I probably never would have seen the naturopath. I never would have been tested. I would have still been on an inhaler, spending hundreds of dollars for something that essentially my body does not need. I have no breathing difficulties whatsoever, and I am so thankful. But this is the reminder to discuss and talk to your friends. If you have something going on, they may have something that might make you think. They may say something that you might find extremely helpful. They may have something that you just had not thought of, and you hadn't looked at it that direction. So it's always good to have friends and family that you can kind of bounce things off of and say, wait, there might be another direction we can go with this. So always, consider your options is what I'm saying. You have options, consider them. So that considering those options saved me a ton, and I am thrilled about that. Now, there are some drawbacks to getting a second opinion, and I want to make sure you know what those are. And no, I am not a doctor. I don't pretend to be one on TV. I'm not giving you advice. I'm telling you my story. But the drawbacks I found with getting a second opinion didn't stop me, but the drawbacks that I found with getting a second opinion are sometimes a second opinion is not covered by your insurance. In this case, in my case, it was not covered. I had to pay out of pocket, and the out of pocket cost, I'm going to say back then was like $600. It was a lot of money to me, but that was 6 months of an inhaler, and almost 10 years have passed. So I believe I've made my money back. So you have to weigh that out. If you're seeing a different provider, a different specialist, you may have to pay out of pocket. So that is to be considered, something you want to think about, something you want to decide if you can afford to do it and want to do it. Another drawback for this is that if you were seeking an immediate intervention, let's say you have a cancer diagnosis and they're like, we have to start chemo right now. We have to start radiation therapy right now. We don't have time for a second opinion. That kind of stuff, you have to weigh yourself out. You have to weigh your options out. But I wasn't on a crunch time, like a surgery was involved or, a hefty intervention was needed. So I was fortunate that I had time. The drawback, if you need a second opinion, is not only may you have to pay for it, but say you want to go see this top specialist. Well, what's his availability? When is his next appointment? Is it 6 weeks from now? Is it 3 months from now? Can you wait that long? So that is to be considered. Scheduling with providers right now is so tight for primary care or any other specialty. So you have to weigh that out. Can you afford to sit back and wait to get in with the person that you want to see? That I see is a drawback, and that's a call that you just will have to make based on your condition. So keep that in mind. I'm hoping that this has been helpful to you, something to think about as things, in this world are crazy. It's hard to get in to see providers, but we also, our providers are leaving and you're getting new providers that you may not trust as much. So keeping a second opinion in mind could really be helpful for you. So I hope that you're able to share this information with others, people that you're caring for, and people that are involved in your life. Let each other know that a second opinion is allowed and it's okay. So if you want one, get one. I'm currently going through a medical situation right now where I'm not thrilled with the diagnosis, and so I'm getting a second opinion. So I'll report back to you guys on this one as well. This one doesn't involve a naturopath. This will involve another specialty, and I'll get back and report to you guys on that one and let you know what I decide on that. In the meantime, please share this information. Keep it in mind that you have options. It is your right. I hope that you will share this information, but put yourself first. Always put yourself first. You are your biggest champion. So put yourself first. I hope this was helpful. Please like and subscribe and share the video. Like and subscribe to the channel. Please remember that we have a super senior segment. Send your super seniors into me and I will discuss them here on the channel. We have the Ask a Question segment where you can send a question in to my email or put your comment down below with your question in the comments, and I respond to those. I answer all comments. And just know that I also think it's helpful for everyone to have the Living Legacy Planner. That is good for anybody who lives alone or who is caring for someone else to have their wishes known, whether they need help temporarily or long term. So keep the Living Legacy Planner in mind. It's available on Amazon right now. And I look forward to seeing you next time right here on Senior and Living Today. Take care.